Wow, wow, wow. Ba 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 ba. Me bum bum dum. Nice dum bum. And jump a boom ba boom ba after dark. Please tell me you can hear the music, otherwise I'm making an ass of myself.
Yeah, man.
How's it going, everybody? Happy Wednesday, or as we know as Hump Day. It's Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am, of course, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, coming from Shabby Road Studios. With us, as always, Mr. Tom Connors.
Good evening, good morning, good night, whatever it is where you're at. Thank you for joining us here on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Joining us is the one, the only Michael J. Crawford, the Anti-Trekker.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you. And for those of you that don't know, I have officially been approved by General Martok. So,
oh boy,
I thought you were going to say General Motors for a minute.
No, you didn't see it. I was J.G. Hertzler was on a panel on Orville Nation's channel, and I was on the panel, and J.G. actually said "death to Kuroga." So
yes,
and of course I have that recorded and all that. So
I seen the tweet. Yes.
All hail the mighty.
For a short time, anyway, at least, Mr. Ryan Cannell of RK Outpost.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on the panel today. I appreciate it. Can't stay long, but I wanted to hop on at least for a little while.
Yeah, he was supposed to join us on the council last night, but we got pretty crowded, did we not? Miss, you know who?
I don't have my makeup on much. I like this.
Your favorite YouTube harpy. She's an Emmy, an ESPY, a Tony, a Bammy, a BAFTA, a SAG Award, a SAGgy. She's an Earl and an OBE, which makes her an earlobe.
Not saggy.
Miss Mecca Random.
Not saggy.
she doesn't have a saggy, but she probably will in about 30 years.
I'm old. I'm not that old.
I was going to say, she looks pretty good for her age. Anybody who wants to know. But yeah, I'm not going to say how old she is.
I'm going to be 41 in a week, so I don't care.
You have to
11
say it.
days. I don't care.
You didn't have to say it.
It was better than people trying to talk to me about, Pokemans and Five Nights at Freddy's or some dumb shit.
Pokemon.
Man.
I don't know what the fuck they're called.
Pokemans.
You understand.
Not a lot of news today, though.
Well, kind of the same shit going on. Birds of Prey finally got some reviews, but just some sad news to start the show with. Longtime actor, Hollywood icon, Kirk Douglas sadly passed away at the age of 103 today.
It's tough whenever we lose anybody, but 103, that is an incredibly long life. So rest in peace, Mr. Douglas.
Honestly, it's hard for me to say that I'm sad as much as just reflective on all the things that he's done.
Yeah.
Because a 103-year-old with a career like his, it's not like I could say, "Oh man, what a shame!" What a triumph! 103.
Yeah. Outside of having a really bad stroke, I mean, he's had a pretty good life. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a great actor for longer than most people get to be one. Got to live to the ripe old age of 103. Most people are lucky to get past 80.
Right.
So,
He was an actor longer than a lot of people live.
Oh yeah.
And I tell you, and the thing is that he was in a couple of movies, like the one that comes to my mind is Spartacus, movies that defined not just a genre, but defined film, and so he was an instrumental part of the
without
we see in film.
We got 300, look at all the other stuff he's done, even later in his career.
Now you got me thinking of the critic. I love you, Spartacus.
Thanks.
Oh God, we gotta do a critic watch party.
Love the critic.
It's kind of funny actually seeing John Lovitz show up on Saturday Night Live last week. Yeah. Too bad it wasn't under better circumstances. But anyway, yeah, Kirk Douglas. What an icon. I mean, really. I mean, there it says it right in the title. I didn't really realize that, but I'm just saying it on my own because he is. I mean, not to mention his son. Everybody knows who his son is too. So
Michael Douglas first.
Liberace.
First thing I saw Michael Douglas. Yeah, first thing I saw Michael Douglas in was the China Syndrome when he had a beard. He was on the streets of San Francisco before that, and on television. A long career for Michael Douglas as well. I'm
pretty sure Kirk Douglas served in World War II, if I remember right, as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Which, just a hell of a life. 103 years old. I can't imagine living past 50. To be quite honest with you, I think I'll be lucky if I get there.
Watch it, man.
I'm saying for me,
50, so you better shut up.
Well, I'm saying for me, I can't imagine me being my life at 50. I think I'll have run myself into the ground, and I'll be lucky to live past then. But 103, a hell of a life.
I'll make sure you don't live past 50.
I'm not even 50, and I feel 103. So,
Kirk Douglas joined the United States Navy in 1941, right after the U.S. entered the war, and served as a communications officer on an anti-submarine and ship, the USS DC 1137.
There you go, and they're hunting down U-boats. So, well, I guess it depends where he served exactly. If he saw at the Pacific or Atlantic, but yeah.
Just some of the other highlights of his career besides Spartacus, of course. There was Paths of Glory, The Vikings. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the gunfight at the OK Corral. Most of these are earlier in his career, and then he had like The Man from Snowy River, which was a pretty big hit, I believe, for Disney back in the 80s. Tough Guys he did with Burt Lancaster. I think that was in the 80s too. And just a career that just goes on and on and on and on. And chances are you came in at some point. One I remember him in. Was the Michael J. Fox movie Greedy. Nobody ever remembers that movie, it seems like, but I remember him in that too. Just tons of stuff he's been in. So yeah, he will be missed, that's for sure. But gosh, 103, what a life.
By the way, just to warn you guys, in case I suddenly disappear, there's a major thunderstorm blowing through. So
okay, gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. So what do we start with, Tom?
I don't know.
Do
we want to talk about the Birds of Prey reviews? I mean, we already knew from some people we talked to that the movie wasn't that bad. I'm not surprised. It's getting, I think, an 80% so far on Rotten Tomatoes. And like a lot of us said, the movie may be fine, but between the hype around it with what's being pushed in the media and the fact that nobody's going to see this fucking movie. The title speaks for itself. Birds of Prey, and no one cares. Literally, this movie's going to be lucky to make $50 million this weekend.
The thing about Birds of Prey, and honestly, it's the movie that absolutely nobody wanted. It may be a perfectly fine film, but the Suicide Squad was not exactly everybody's favorite movie, and it did okay, but it was like, were people going nuts over Harley Quinn? No. And now we have a movie and all they're doing is pushing Harley Quinn in all the marketing. Now, I don't know if she really is what the movie's all about, because obviously they changed the title to being the emancipation of Harley Quinn and all that crap. But quite frankly, I do not give two of my avatar about going to see this movie, because I didn't care for Harley Quinn in the last time I saw her, and I don't care about her now, and there is no DCEU anyway.
Don't you know we need more strong female characters, Anti-Tracker? Don't you know that?
Yeah, but you know what?
First all-female superhero movie.
And actually, the thing is, Harley Quinn could be an interesting character if they actually made her accurately. And instead of having it, we're going to make Harley Quinn independent and away from the Joker, and she's going to be strong and good and help all her friends. How about you tell the depressing, dark story of Harley Quinn's dependence on the Joker, and then you break her away?
Mm-hmm.
But to just start out with
You know why this movie's happening? Because Harley Quinn sells almost, if not as much fucking merchandise as Joker does. And guess what? It probably either sells as much or outsells Batman when it comes to merchandise.
Sure, but this
What
movie,
about the costumes?
DC.
Yeah, you made the point about Suicide Squad, and as bad as Suicide Squad was as a movie, at least how I felt about it, even though I am a DC guy, it made a decent chunk of change. It made twice as much as this is going to make easily. And one of the things that people did like about it, I would say, is Harley Quinn. Either whether it was guys that were drooling over the short shorts or whether it was literally Harley Quinn costumes took over Halloween for a younger crowd of girls, obviously. That was kind of like the market that they cornered, and Harley Quinn was pretty popular. Now with this movie, they're like, well, let's reject the male gaze and let's make it rated R. So then you lose all those male viewers who would have been interested in it, and you lose any of the younger crew that were dressing up as her for Halloween. So it's like, I don't know exactly what they're doing. And I've heard the same things that you guys have heard from people who have actually seen this, that it's really not that bad. It's not super woke or anything like that. It's not the best movie, but it's fine. But the problem is with the way that they've marketed it and the decisions they've made, they have just screwed themselves over. And this thing is going to tank. There are no seats sold. I live in San Diego, and there's maybe 3. I checked all of the AMC theaters within 50 miles of me. There's 3 that are more than half full, like 3 showings.
is the official release date this weekend?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Let me check, because I haven't even looked, because like I said, I do not give a crap about seeing this movie.
Let me see if they've added any more dates to mine too. Yeah, because
No, they still hadn't sold any last night when I looked, and they still haven't sold any this morning when I looked either. It's pretty
okay.
empty.
They did add. It looks like they did add at least I think one more showing. Because didn't I say how many showings did I say there was before? There's 5. Did I say there was 5, or was there only like 4?
They probably sold enough to add another showing just in case.
I'm not sure. I can't remember. If there was only, I think there was only 5 to begin with. I can't remember now. I'd have to go back and watch the show.
I think my theater has like 6 on. Well, 4. Let's see, 2 and 2 on opening on Thursday, and then it increases on Friday. And the only time people are really going to see this is Friday.
So I know it's kind of hard to see, but this is opening night. The gray seats are the ones that are sold. The white ones are the ones that are not sold. So it looks like there's a total of 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 seats sold.
How big of a metropolitan area do you live near?
Currently about 140,000 in our city, and that's the biggest theater in town.
Welcome, Doctor.
Hey,
Script Doctor, how you doing?
great. How are you guys doing today? Thanks, Tom, for the invite tonight.
They probably got a super chat from Trace XL, $5. Rob, I think you were trying to say something anyway, so if you want to take that.
Trace XL, $5 super chat. Just looked 30 minutes ago. Every theater within 50 miles, every single showing, they aren't even half full. Some are nearly empty. I just checked the theater near me. There's a total of 14 seats sold for an 8 o'clock showing. Let me see if there's another showing in. There was only 8 seats sold for the AMC Lincoln Square. We checked last night on 34th, I think it was. And
you really only have what 5 seats on my theater sold still for opening night, but that's more than they were.
Yeah, so the theater that's closest to me is a over 300 seat theater, and for the 4 showings at 6, 7, 9, and 10 tomorrow night, there are 5 seats, 6 seats, 8 seats, and 4 seats sold.
Oh man.
So here's the problem with this.
And one of those is mine.
It might make some money when it's all said and done, but what it's looking at making opening weekend, it'll be lucky to clear by the end of its run what Suicide Squad did in its opening weekend, because Suicide Squad opened strong and then took a nosedive once word of mouth got around.
Right.
So I think we ended. Go ahead.
Well, I think what we should really compare this movie to is Shazam. It has almost the exact same budget. But unfortunately, it's not going to get the younger crowd. I don't think that Shazam really did.
R rating is going to push it away, and just like a lot of people aren't aware that it's rated R.
I didn't know. I assumed it was just another PG-13 film.
Yeah, we learned last night it was R.
But and what's it R for? Just language, or is there like actual?
I gotta assume it. Well, I heard it's got a lot of gore in it too.
Okay.
Becca sent me a screenshot here. I'm gonna share that here.
Yeah, that's the 6 o'clock showing on Thursday that had no seats sold all this time until today, Wednesday. So tomorrow.
Yeah. I still, the thing is, to me, it's the problem is they're making a movie that nobody gives a crap about because, honestly, when I saw Suicide Squad, the thing that I thought looked the coolest was when they showed that shot. There was a recreation of the Joker cover with Joker and her, and I was like, now that's a freaking movie. And I was like, ooh, I want to see the Harley Quinn Joker movie. And the first thing they do is establish that Harley is now independent of Joker. And it's like, okay, well, never mind then.
Fuck you, Mr. J. Great Goat sent us $4.99. Birds of Prey tickets, IMAX and Dolby Cinema included, are $5 for $35 on Atom. Mm-hmm. Also $8 if you buy a digital DCEU movie. They want
Atom tickets. Come on,
they're giving them away. Holy shit!
This is and this
That's
is Atom
real?
tickets.
Yeah.
Okay, remember every little bit of positive spin and PR that they get for this is, on Atom tickets it outsold Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman in the opening hour. It's like, yes, it's because on Atom tickets, who the crap uses it? It's like the 4th or 5th one down the list. You think Fandango, you think whatever the other ones are, like your Regals and your AMCs, and your go with your local theater, and then maybe you'll think of like the 4th or 5th one down the line for your online ticket.
Okay, now I've heard of the whole like if you buy a movie you get so much off a ticket thing before. That's a write-off. That's like a coupon.
Mm-hmm.
That other deal, I've never heard of that before.
Well, you got to also remember when they do all this comparison stuff, Atom Tickets the app was only created in 2016. So in 2016 and 17, when, Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad came out, Atom Tickets was barely around. So that's why they can use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not only that, we also brought up the fact that most people still don't necessarily pre-buy their tickets online. Like we did a quick poll of like 100 some people that were watching. We said hit 1 in the chat if you ever pre-order your tickets on your phone or online before you go to the cinema, and we got 3 1s.
Oh geez, yeah. I mean, I do it. I do it literally all the time. I don't know.
But I was also my point was I was also willing to bet most of the people that do it now are, it's been mostly in the last year, not so much in the last 5 years where they're getting all these. Rise of Skywalker broke ticket sales. Well, then they had to backtrack that because it didn't even do that. But anyway, great cost, $1.90. Also, early access for DC Universe subscribers. Really?
Yeah, I talked about that. They had like a preview day in a few different.
Oh, that's right. I looked into that, but it wasn't close by to me because I thought about going. To
yeah, it wasn't close by to me either.
Tom, I have to bring up the fact that you said doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
Wow.
Okay. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I really am to the point where I think it's not, and they can lump. They're already setting it up to blame us for this failure. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
If the movie is like some of the reviews are saying, the movie is not all woke and everything.
No, that's the thing.
Why start blaming people that? I mean, granted, I'm sure there are going to be at least some people out there that are going to say, "Oh, this is just another movie all about women" or something. But that's. Generally speaking, I don't think that I haven't heard much from the fandom menace about this movie at all. Most of them are just like, yeah, whatever, that's a thing.
Well, it kind of became a thing last week when a good friend of ours, Matthew Kadish, had a tweet that went viral because he happened to comment on, the desexualization of the characters. Mm-hmm. And of course, a bunch of people lost their fucking minds, and it even got stories written about it. So, like I said, between that and some of the other headlines, it feels like they're already setting this up. Isn't that right, Rob? Is that what you're trying?
Yeah. It's not even so much desexualized. It goes, there's nothing sexy about the marketing. He said. Now that can be interpreted to mean many different things. Yeah, I remember there was a car ad a couple years ago where a guy brings his car and the mechanic's going, and in their heavy Italian accents. Oh, no. Where is it a sexy? There's no sexy. I mean,
Right.
so yeah, we go.
The thing is, well, there is some truth to, like, if you look at it, it doesn't look sexy, but it is all girls, and it's like all bright colors and neons and stuff. This looks like it's a movie made by a committee who was told make a movie for girls,
and then let's make it rated R.
Yeah, and
exactly.
And so
because Joker,
right? And so to me, it's like, well, hey, I'll take Brie Larson's advice and sit this one out because it's not for me.
Yeah. And it's not even, with this tweet, which got absolutely, I felt so bad for Matt. Some of the responses are disgusting here, but not only is it sex appeal, but it's also when he says the core comic book male audience, it's not just about sex appeal. These characters look nothing like their characters that they're supposed to look like. You have to tell me
any of them are except for Harley.
You have to tell me who those people are. You have a Black Canary. You have
that's Black Canary. Seriously?
Yes. You have Renee Montoya, who looks nothing like herself. You have Cassandra Cain, one of the most badass characters that are in DC Comics right now. Who you have no idea that girl is Cassandra Cain, the girl who can literally beat Batman in hand-to-hand combat. You're telling me that's her? These characters don't look. Oh, and Huntress looks like she's dressed in a garbage bag.
Wait,
yeah, I almost forgot about Huntress there. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, and to be fair, like I said on the High Council last night, I believe the reason that they dressed her like that was to keep Ewan McGregor's hands to himself for the movie, since him and Mary Elizabeth Winstead have had a thing before. But yeah, it's just, and then Black Mask, who's not wearing a mask, and who is marketed as flamboyantly gay. Like, what is going on here with this movie? It's a culmination of all these things that it's just not made for you if you like comic books. And Harley doesn't even belong to the Birds of Prey. She belongs to
it's a boardroom movie. It's a what diversity boxes can we check, and what can we what representation can we get on screen? What sort of agenda can we fulfill? And how can we appeal to this because this thing was successful? Oh, throw in an R rating because Joker, and throw in women power because that's trendy, and it's just
it's trendy, but it's not making any money.
No, but they have all these excuses every time. You're just a sexist, you're just a racist because it didn't make money. So they like to say, oh, and that's a good thing. Solo lost money, and that's a good thing. There's always an excuse for all this crap. So I think they do make.
Yeah,
I'm tired of being told though it's not made for you. I am sick of that, and I know it was a thing made by Brie because she doesn't know how to talk like a person. She just likes to play people. She's talking about.
She thinks she's.
I'm actually Mars.
Yeah. No, I think the funniest thing about all this.
The point is movies have always been made for just about everybody. If you make a movie that is appealing, doesn't matter who the main actor is, doesn't matter who the main character is, people will go and see it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the whole Little Women thing. They blamed us for that. I was like, fuck you. We're not going to go see the 500th version of this movie. But not only that, go back and look at the one in the 90s. The reason that did well was because you actually put people in it that people wanted to see on screen. They were actually stars. That's how you got butts in the seats when you do that kind of shit. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
No, that's right. I was saying the funniest thing though about this whole conversation is just the fact that I can just see it right now at some boardroom at Warner Brothers. Oh, there's a character named Black Canary. Make sure you cast a black girl.
Yeah.
It really, because it's like, oh, okay, well, Black Lightning, we got to make that a black guy because he was black in the comics, right? Black Panther, well, he's a black guy because so Black Canary got to be a black girl.
That's adorable. They think that's
yeah, exactly. It's like they think that if the character has black in the name, then that must mean that they're black. So I honestly think someone actually thought that.
Well, this is just as stupid as Barnes and Noble just changing out all the covers of like Frankenstein and Treasure Island to have black characters on the cover instead of featuring, actual black.
Yeah, is that what you sent me that earlier?
Yeah.
Wait, but isn't Frankenstein a Jewish name?
Yeah.
I'm just asking a question.
It's hilariously ridiculous.
Frankenstein, so
Hey,
Matt G with $5 says, "Remember, Birds of Prey is technically part of the Arrowverse now." LOL. You can say that now. Is that I fell out of the Arrowverse? Is that just because she's been in the show, or did they actually make some kind of strange connection?
The only thing I can think of is that, well, we did have you had Ezra Miller do that appearance in the Flash episode where Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin, the two versions of the Flash we have right now, appeared together, and then Ezra Miller kind of faded into nothingness. So
we can only hope.
Yeah, I hate him as Barry Allen. He should be Impulse. He should be like a Bart Allen. He's not Barry Allen.
It should be Ray Palmer or something.
Yeah, but anyway, so maybe that's the only thing I could think of. I do know that, I mean, they have a lot of those same characters in the Arrowverse.
Right. Well, Black Canary was in the Arrow, but
yeah,
like 3 or 4 of them in the Arrowverse. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
I think that DC needs to just freaking go away.
Exactly, Trace. I agree with what Trace just says there.
He says with $5, there's actually a Black Canary in an alternate Earth, but they instead changed Dinah Lace, a white Irish American woman, to a black woman.
Yeah, and that's really the problem, and that's something that people have pointed out. Like, if you wanted to make the Black Canary, you could have done that, but no, you wanted to use Dinah Lance, the most famous Black Canary. You wanted to use that character, but then you just put Jussie Smollett's sister in there.
The dumbest thing about that is that we're not talking about characters that anybody outside the uber nerddom know. It's like if you were talking about, sure, if you want to make a Superman character, you've got to have Clark Kent. If you're going to do a Batman character, you've got to have Bruce Wayne. If you're going to do Spider-Man, you got to have Peter Parker. But Black Canary, 99.9% of people have no idea what Black Canary's alter ego is.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a normie looking at that photo, I'd think the Spice Girls really let themselves go.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
Yo, tell me what you really want.
I
want a pizza. I want a pizza right now.
Well, right. Just don't tell.
Interrupt you there.
Just don't say to the Miles Morales fans that you have to have Peter Parker as Spider-Man, because they'll jump all over. No way, man! Like, people are totally sick of Peter Parker, and it's time for a change. We need a change. It's been like 5 Peter Parker movies. We totally need a change, man.
And that's because, but those people are what you call stupid, because
exactly.
They really think, and don't get me wrong, no diss on Miles Morales, but if you're a Miles Morales fan, understand that you are in the absolute minority. Yes, Into the Spider-Verse did well, but you know what they did in the marketing? They showed Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why they showed Peter Parker? Because people know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. People, when you say Miles Morales, people are like, who?
Exactly.
Doesn't he play for the Phillies? You know?
And I like, I actually like Miles Morales' character. I could see them in a few years, assuming, like, if Tom Holland stays with the MCU, I would love to see is when Tom Holland hits like maybe 30 years old or so, or he starts to look like he's actually an adult, then bring in a kid to be Miles Morales and become the younger Spider-Man. I'd be totally on board with that. But you can't just start out with Miles Morales, because people are going to be like, who the hell is that?
Man, give me a live action Into the Spider-Verse. Bring Toby back. Even bring Andrew Garfield back. Let's do it, guys.
I want Miles Morales to run out of web fluid over 34th Street and plunge headfirst into traffic. And that's how I care for the character.
I don't know. I'm not going to get into the whole Spider-Man conversation, because y'all know how I feel. So, yeah. Anyway.
And by the way, Bill Barkley, as far as to Picard tomorrow, I am excited to see the Riker scene, but as far as Seven and Hugh, I couldn't care less.
Well, I don't want to get too deep down the Picard rabbit hole. Most of us were not very impressed with the first episode and thought the second episode was god awful. How about you, Michael? Because we missed you last week. How have you felt about the show since?
First episode, I gave a 7 out of 10. Second episode, I gave a 6 out of 10. So I agree with you on the trajectory, just probably not as severely.
Well,
I'm sorry. Let's say by episode 4, it's supposed to fall off a cliff.
Well, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen according to leaks or rumors or whatever. But I think that there are some fundamental misunderstandings about the Picard universe that are causing some problems. In fact, I'm just recorded a video. I haven't finished editing it yet about why this version of Starfleet is not different than what we've had before. A lot of people think this is crazy different Starfleet. Oh my God, it's racist against Romulans. Oh my God, they do. And it's like, have you not seen Star Trek in the past? Because I pulled up clips from 2 different episodes from 2 different Star Trek series showing racism against Romulans. And this is nothing new. Well,
that's not the only complaint we have with it, though.
I'm not saying it is, but the point is that this is not like some dystopian future. In fact, for your average civilian living in the 24th century, on the verge of the 25th century, things are pretty nice. It's just that Picard was disappointed in Starfleet's decision, but if you look at Starfleet's decision and you look at the facts, it's actually a pragmatic and practical decision that they made, even if it's not a compassionate one, which again is nothing new in Trek. Every single captain in Trek has gone against Starfleet command because the orders coming down from on high were dispassionate orders, and they wanted to do the right thing. It happened to Kirk, it happened to Picard, it happened to Sisko, it happened to Archer. It didn't happen to Janeway, but that's because she was on the other side of the freaking galaxy. You know,
and that's the least of my problems with the show. There's too many other problems with the show.
Well, the replicator being equivalent to a microwave bugged me a little.
And for me, my only problem with the racism against Romulans is that they are using it as kind of an allegory for current politics that they're not really smart enough to understand. And they're trying to appeal to this really woke, also politically ignorant sort of little subculture that we have going on that tend to scream the loudest. So that's kind of really my only issue with having it kind of being prejudiced against Romulans.
I've said about other movies, television programs, and I say this about Picard. I don't hate it, but it's not giving me any real reason to like it either.
Yeah, I'll tell you my biggest problem with Picard is the writing style. I do not like, and this is not just Picard, but I mean, Discovery did this as well, but Discovery has such a laundry list of flaws that we could spend 6 hours and not get through them. But Picard, the contemporary writing is out of place. Like one of the things we touched on. There was obviously the Admiral saying the effing hubris, which again,
speak the other bullshit too. Yeah, like the kid talk. They talk like modern teenagers.
Well, you have Dodge saying "dude." But I think the worst line, and nobody commented on it, but the worst line for me was Picard putting on his comm badge and says, "Raj, don't hang up." Who the hell says "don't hang up" in the 24th century?
Well, yeah,
it's contemporary. It's writing for CSI Space. That's the problem. It's not the story. Yeah. It's not the plot. It's that the script writing is written like this is CSI Space. That this just takes place today.
I have to agree on that. We have some super chats we have to get to, but before we do, Ryan's got to check out. But he says he has some news for us. What's up, Ryan?
Ooh, are you pregnant?
Yeah. I wish. I would love to add another little guy, but no. Unfortunately, the news is we obviously had all that. We had the news with the director and Marvel splitting over Doctor Strange 2. Looks like Sam Raimi. Ironically, we were just talking about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Sam Raimi looks like he's going to be the director for Doctor Strange 2.
Oh, that could be awesome.
Okay.
I seen that trending, and I was going to bring that up anyway. But it's official. You're right.
Yeah,
he's
it seems like
hired. Very, very interesting move. Very interesting move. So we'll take. Yeah. We'll have to
Sam Raimi, one of the very few directors, has experience in both horror and superheroes. So
and that's what this was supposed to be, kind of, was a horror feeling superhero movie. So very interesting. There Gary in the chat says he called it last week, so that's awesome. But I I do have to go. Tom, thanks for having me on, even if it's just for a little bit. I really appreciate it. If you guys haven't seen me before, come check me out. Ryan Kennel, RK Outpost. I talk about Star Wars comic book stuff and a little bit of everything. So thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jordan.
Gary's in the chat, huh? Hey, how you doing, Gary? I sent you something on Facebook, by the way. So yeah, you might want to check that out.
Well,
that's very interesting news. Sam Raimi is definitely a good choice. That's got me excited. I'm sure that'll get Andre excited. Expect a editorial soon from him, I'd assume. Rob, what were you going to say there? I'm sorry.
I forget.
I think it's great news. I think Sam Raimi is a great fit to bring in. Hopefully, because fortunately we haven't seen the kind of idiocy coming out of Marvel Studios that we saw out of Sony Pictures. So if they can keep Sam Raimi on board, that's great.
Just thank God it's not Ava DuVernay.
Right? Daryl Brewer sent us $2, Rob.
Spider ham. I want some bacon now. So okay, Spider Ham. That's it. Spider Ham.
There is nothing cooler than the name Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider Ham. I just love it. That was actually a comic.
He was one of the highlights of Spider-Verse. My problem with Spider-Verse is this: I don't mind Spider-Verse so much, but I hate all the bashing that goes on of the new Marvel Spider-Man. It's like, how can you hate that one but think Spider-Verse is okay? If you have a problem with Spider-Man being Iron Man Jr. and Aunt May, and don't have a problem with Aunt May having a bat cave under her house, then I'm sorry, the conversation probably can't go much farther than this.
Well, if you're okay with a talking pig that's also a Spider-Man.
Well, that was because it came from an alternate universe. I get it. I mean, I can buy into certain things, but there's just certain aspects of it. It's just like, no. But everybody was totally like it was the best Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 2. And I'm just like,
come on, you want to see this. Not only do we want a live action Into the Spider-Verse, but we've got to get a Howard the Duck Spider-Ham crossover.
To be honest, I'll take the latter, but the Spider-Verse stuff, I'm not a big fan of the crossover universe stuff. I kind of got over with it back when they did like Turtles Forever and shit.
There's a whole other
we have a very special guest joining us right now, Mr. Andre. How do you feel about this new news that we just got?
Well, first of all, greetings, everyone. Thanks for having me. How I feel about it? I feel so excited that I had to drop what I was doing, which was rewriting the next video, to come and join you and to talk about this right now. My God. Wow, I would never, ever have seen that coming. I guess now we know why the original director was fired, don't we? He wanted horror, and with this guy, they can get horror and comedy. That's very Marvel, isn't it?
And it'd be stylistic as well. Like, I love Raimi's style.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Drag Me to Hell with superpowers. I'm so on board with Drag Me to Hell with superpowers.
I'm really excited now because I was so excited about like just Doctor Strange 2 anyway, and like now, yes, give me Sam Raimi. I'm happy.
Yeah, I was like thinking. I even made a video saying that now without Scott Derrickson, my anticipation for Doctor Strange 2 went down the drain. Although that was the one Phase 4 movie I was actually really excited about. I have to give it to them. Not only am I as interested as I was before, I'm more interested than I was before.
Let's hit these super chats real quick, because then I think I'm going to duck out because we got Gary who's going to come in here real quick because he actually called this. Nelson Sharetta, Harley from DC Cartoon is interesting, can be done. Oh yeah, we can definitely get a great Harley movie. That's not a... If they can especially do it I would love to see the Harley of the Joker universe that we just got introduced to. Nelson Shredder also sent us another $2. Thank you so much. Sam Raimi means Bruce Campbell can't be out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
And then we also got one from Darren Wagner. Thank you so much. $2. Sam Raimi is so appropriate for Doctor Strange. So yeah. As soon as Gary gets here, I'll probably drop out.
Ooh, do you think we'll get a Ted Raimi cameo? Please, please, please.
Most likely.
Yes! I couldn't see how we wouldn't get a Ted Raimi cameo. And the funny thing is that Ted Raimi played J. Jonah Jameson's assistant, and J. Jonah Jameson is the same actor, which means
Oh,
I'm just saying that's
Mhm.
that is a genuine possibility now.
It would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Although I'm much more excited for like a Bruce Campbell cameo. Man, I hope he gets a sizable part.
Mm-hmm.
I think
nice.
Bruce Campbell end up getting torn in half by Mordo or something.
Well, what would be better yet is if they have some tongue-in-cheek like callback to like Evil Dead. That would be funny as shit.
I could just see like maybe like Bruce Campbell being woken up in the middle of the night, and because there's some noise, and you see him like go into his closet, and there's a box that's labeled Boomstick, and he pulls out his shotgun or something.
You know what's really awesome? I haven't researched the Ash Wright situation, but he's appeared in Marvel Comics to have Army of Darkness Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies. And one of the things that has been rumored about this movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, is that we'll be seeing other incarnations of the Marvel characters in the multiverse. Like, for instance, Marvel Zombies. Like, it could happen. Who is to say that we couldn't get Ash in one of those alternate dimensions? How awesome would that be?
That could be, and you know, if you look at, I assume you guys have all seen. I assume you guys have all seen the Super Bowl ad for the Marvel television shows, and you notice that the WandaVision looked very much like we're going to go into a whole bunch of bizarre, weird, alternate universes.
I liked that. Like,
And,
actually,
I did too. I thought
different.
it was a cool idea, and so that could be a lead into this kind of thing. Like if they're going to do that in Doctor Strange, that could be like the whole point of WandaVision would be to kind of prep people for this bizarre, weird thing that we're going to get into. And I'm down for that as long as it doesn't become every Marvel movie, but I could definitely see it in Doctor Strange.
Hey, Gary, can you hear us? Or are you there?
Ooh, Gary.
And Gary's having some technical issues there in San
He's
Francisco.
muted.
Due to technical difficulties, please stand by.
Unless it's that fake Nerdrotic, maybe you're just getting faked out by fake Nerdrotic.
Oh, did you check the check mark?
I had fake Nerdrotic come onto my stream the other night. So yeah, watch out for fake Nerdrotic. He is real.
Let me tell you. Let's see. Go to the chat. Check his profile. Where's the link to it?
I sent it to
Dude,
my
while we're-
Facebook. Of course, it's the real Gary.
How am I supposed to know?
The real Gary, straight from San Francisco, where no pile of shit shall go unstepped in.
Hey.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Gary, you there? Apparently not.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Yeah, he dropped out again. He's having evidently. While we're waiting for him, though, here we go. Daryl Brewer. Sorry,
Did you say Drew Barrymore?
I almost did.
Yeah, because Daryl Brewer looks just like Drew Barrymore.
Well, I said Brew, but
No.
Yeah.
Well, read it,
Rob.
Brewer.
Ash opening the door with his metal hand, with his boomstick and chainsaw. Okay, I'm about to diminish my nerd street cred. I used to have never seen Evil Dead or Army of Darkness.
Well, we're gonna fix that tonight.
Yeah.
I will say this: I think that Evil Dead 2 is the best of the Evil Dead films. But it's so bizarre to watch Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 back to back, because Evil Dead 2 is kind of a sequel, kind of a remake.
Yeah. That's the feat of doing both at the same time.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Not a clean movie without it.
Yeah,
it really.
I remember the TV spots. I remember him with the skeleton army, and something happened, and he goes, "Oh, that's gotta hurt." So
that's Army of Darkness, which is a masterpiece, by the way. I love that movie.
Yeah, seemed like the kind of movie I would enjoy, though. Even
Yeah.
I would almost just say
Okay.
watch Army of Darkness, Rob. I mean, you could probably skip the other two because there's like the little recap, and then if you really really like it, then go back and watch the second one.
That's kind of how I was.
Yeah, but there's Bruce Campbell by himself for 30 minutes, and it's incredibly entertaining and Evil Dead 2.
That
so.
is
What's funny
probably
though is you
right.
can actually edit all three movies together and it's seamlessly at that. I mean, you lose little
Yeah.
the credits and stuff, but I've done it.
Yeah, yeah, and you get Bruce Campbell aging 20 years across that joint trilogy. So
You don't care; it doesn't matter.
Well, before he gets sucked in the vortex, he gets some gray streak in his hair from all the being so scared. So you got an excuse for it.
yeah, you
It
got that.
wasn't so much that he looks old; he only gains it's like he gains 10 pounds between the second and third film. Yeah, here he's Gary.
Hey,
Gary, are you with us here, buddy?
yeah, man.
How's it
Sorry
going?
about that. How's it going? My microphone wasn't working for a second. It needed to get slapped around a little bit.
Yeah,
But
always does the trick, doesn't it? So glad to have you
It
here.
does.
So glad to be here with all of you. By the way,
yeah, this is crazy good news. Now it's
yeah,
in
my
talks,
God,
but I called this last week. I just did basic math, nerd math. He had done Spider-Man before. Sam Raimi is a giant Steve Ditko fan, and he would have been perfect for it. Plus, he did a PG-13 horror movie that was pretty decent, Drag Me to Hell, and I think he can do it for Marvel good enough. He's the perfect person if the MCU really wants to. I don't know. I mean, like this could be the best MCU movie ever, and I'm not kidding. This
Drag
guy
Me
is
to Hell was only
perfect.
PG-13.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
If you
I was
notice,
grossed out by it.
Yeah, it's not particularly graphic. There's just a couple of scenes that kind of gross you out, like when the eyeball pops out and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's and that's why I said earlier. I don't know if you heard it, Gary, but I said earlier that Drag Me to Hell with superpowers. Sign me up.
Yep. Oh, I have not been this excited about the MCU in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Admittedly, the Disney Plus little trailer actually got me interested in those shows, but this is like, ooh, man, I'm just having a bit of a nerdgasm right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you ain't
same
the
here.
only one. I was just saying before you came, because I right like 10 minutes ago I was sitting and I was really annoyed rewriting a script that's going to go live tomorrow, and then Tom texts me these news, and I've said before in the editorial, the moment Scott Derrickson walked out of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the one Phase 4 movie I was interested in, I was out.
Yep.
This, oh my God, this got me so back on board in a second. This better happen. This better happen.
Oh, this
My
has to
God.
happen.
Yeah,
And-
it has to.
And this could lead to other things. I mean, why don't we dream? Because I am dying for a Spider-Man 4. As a matter of fact, Nerdrotic Jr. and I were just looking at the storyboards for it about an hour ago. And you never know. You just never know over at Sony. But this is brilliant. Oh, my God.
Well, when you have the multiverse, you can do pretty much anything.
Anything. And it looks like they're trying to dive back into being Marvel again. I think they might have heard some of the criticism. That's kind of the gist I'm getting. I know there's still going to be political undertones in some of their movies, and that's, especially with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but that still looks better than I thought it would be just in the, couple of seconds that I saw.
Well, they want to do the U.S. agent story with John Walker. Kurt Russell's son is Walker. So, I mean,
That's good casting, by the way.
Yeah, that was one of the last Captain America stories I had read years ago before I stopped collecting comics for a brief time in the late 80s.
Yep.
So but even that's not that bad. I mean, so.
No, it's canon. And what they're doing with Black Widow is canon. And WandaVision, quite frankly, looked more interesting than when I just saw the WandaVision. It's going to be set in the 50s. I'm like, what? But after I saw what they're going to do, I'm like, it's interesting. I'm kind of into that. This is the biggest news there is. And I like Doctor Strange, but this could be, Doctor Strange's Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, it can. It has to be.
Which is amazing to think of that being post Endgame. That something like this could get people excited again, because I think that was a big problem that Marvel was facing with Phase 4, is that it just feels so underwhelming after we just got off of Infinity War and Endgame. But getting something like a Sam Raimi directed film like this could definitely win people over and get people excited. Even the non-nerds like us know who Sam Raimi is. And, everybody remembers, oh, yeah, there was that one Spider-Man movie with the guy with metal arms. That was awesome. Oh, they're going to bring that guy back? Okay.
Yep. And he still got it. It wasn't that long ago. Ash versus Evil Dead was on, and he directed the first episode, which is an hour long. It is some of the best television I've ever seen. It's the way you bring back a property as good as Cobra Kai. You have to be an Ash fan. And there's not a ton of those, but I am one, and I thought season 1 was perfect. What was that? I'm an asshole. Yes, I am an asshole.
I have to say, though, I'll do you one better with your comparison, basically saying that this could be Doctor Strange's Winter Soldier. My one better is this could be Doctor Strange's Evil Dead 2, because I'm an asshole as well.
Yes. And just his directing style is it's better than Scott Derrickson's, honestly. And it's I'm now the jaded person in me goes, maybe they had him in the wings all along, and they're like, how do we get rid of Scott Derrickson? Let's start pissing him off a little bit. Which that never happens in Hollywood ever. But I don't care. Sorry, Scott Derrickson. But if we get Sam Raimi instead, fans win. And they needed that excitement. Michael, you're right. It was underwhelming at best for at least this year. So this keeps the ball rolling for the following year.
Right.
What you mean the
Fantastic Four? Damn it! Where's my Fantastic Four? Sorry.
That would be the thing I am the most excited for if I thought we would get a Jack Kirby Fantastic Four, but that can be a conversation for another day because we're not going to get Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four.
Well, we can dream, can't we?
I was about to ask, the prospect of Captain Marvel 2 doesn't get you all a tingle with anticipation.
It does
for the memes. Yeah.
Oh my god.
For the job security.
What kind of amazing, stupid things is Brie going to say in those, on the press junkets, in the interview?
And another white dude with the red Doctor Strange.
Oh my god, I need a lightsaber.
The funny thing is that if they do make a Captain, is there any confirmed news on Captain Marvel 2? Because I have
no.
So if they ever get around to making a Captain Marvel 2, I think that they need to do one of two things: either just go straight for the Monica Rambeau story and forget about Brie, or really, really retool the character. And if they don't do one of those two things, it's going to completely tank.
Well, the only way to retool the character really is to recast.
And what's wrong with that?
Yeah, well, but Brie has a contract. Nothing wrong with that.
They do have Monica Rambeau.
She can be brought out if need be.
Oh yeah,
contracts break all the time.
Yeah, the thing about that is that contracts, and I know Script Doctor knows this, contracts are generally one way in that it basically says that you can't say no to be in this movie, but if we want somebody else, that's up to us.
It can be that way.
Yeah. So, and Marvel is a very hardball kind of company. So and so they're not gonna let some actor have any kind of exclusive rights over one of their characters.
Well, let's just say they have no qualms about recasting. They've done so before, several times over.
Yeah, Captain Marvel will be filled with Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers. They'll give her a lot of partners, and listen, they've done that in pretty much every sequel. So they're gonna
have to for her to make the movie interesting because she's so boring.
Yep. And I think they'll try to go very Guardians of the Galaxy with it. My prediction is gonna probably disappoint some people. I think she's gonna be well behaved. I think they learned their lesson with her, and you can already see them trying to rebuild her reputation, and she'll probably just be quiet and boring on the press circuit, which would again be a victory. That's a
huge step up.
Yeah. Right. And but I still can't stand the character, but that's biased from the comic book. I used to love Miss Marvel and Carol Danvers. I seriously love that comic book. I bought it when I was a kid. Yeah,
I have Miss Marvel #1, and I don't dislike. Although I like Monica Rambeau better.
Yep.
Monica Rambeau was a real character. She led the freaking Avengers.
Yep.
And did a good job of it. And I mean, she was one of the, I just can't believe the ironic thing is that I can't believe they pushed aside a black woman to put a white woman on screen. That just seems weird to me in the modern political culture. Why would you do that? But yeah, I mean, the problem with Brie is that I don't even see it's Brie. It's just the director intentionally wanted her character to be flat and boring, and they managed to succeed.
That's one thing we do know about Captain Marvel too, though. Those directors, those unbelievable hacks that did such crap job in filming and editing and getting performances out and everything, they won't be back for Captain Marvel 2. I recall that is pretty much confirmed that they will not be invited back.
Right. Well, her movie was just, it was.
And all the directors do, sorry, Michael, the directors do at Marvel are direct the performances. They don't direct the special effects scenes. That's all done pretty much in-house because a director who turned down the job said that. She's like, I want to direct the whole movie, not just the actors. I want to do the action and everything.
Well, the Marvel model is a lot like a hour-long drama. It's just the directors come in, they do their performances, they go out, and then the production and everybody else takes over. And in fact, a lot of the stunt guys are on autopilot for some of these movies, especially on TV shows. And that's the Marvel formula that so far has worked for them. But we'll see how it keeps going. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I actually like the fact that a director, that one of the big problems in Hollywood, and I'm sure that none of you guys are going to argue with me on this, one of the biggest problems in Hollywood is egos, right? The egos of the actors, the egos of the directors. Look at, I mean, I wanted to punch Martin Scorsese in the face when he was talking about how superhero films aren't really cinema. These people are so full of themselves that they think that they really are that important. And Marvel's looking at it like, no, you're the director. Your job is to get the actors to do their job. You're like their supervisor. You're the actor. Your job is to pretend to be this person. You don't like it? There's the door, because guess what? There's 1,000 people that want your job.
But Brie acts. How does Mecca, doesn't Brie act for people? She likes people.
She just wanted to be a person. She didn't want to be a hero. She wanted to be people.
I want to be a person.
People.
Precious.
I will say, though, I think that Brie delivered a career worst performance as Captain Marvel. She can do so much better.
She can.
And that's on the directors. They failed so immensely in getting performances out of anyone. And that's obviously why they're not welcome back. Because especially Brie, like, she had no timing.
It's like, not a bad actor.
Agree with. No, she isn't. No, she's fine.
She was good in Scott Pilgrim.
So much better.
I just thought
Unicorn Store was pretty bad.
Most ironic,
hilarious.
The absolute most ironic thing about Captain Marvel was that over and over and over in the movie they kept saying you need to control your emotions, and it's like, what? Wait,
what emotions?
Yeah, where are these emotions that you're?
They told us it's a flaw, but we never got to see a flaw. I mean, that's screenwriting 101. You don't do it that way.
But this whole news about Sam Raimi, though, I mean, it's sort of, when you guys agree, it's Marvel Studios is pushing they're pushing themselves back into the into I don't want to say prominence, but into
favor.
No, yeah, absolutely. There's like the early days when they were still trying to build their audience and impress people. And they would try to bring in somewhat known directors instead of bringing in these indie directors. I think they know this is the most important film for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because we think it's going to be introducing the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. So yes, to bring Sam Raimi in, who arguably helped start the current superhero franchise dominance that we're seeing right now. Frankly, I mean, I know Blade was first, and then there was the X-Men with Singer, but like Raimi's the one that, you know, Spider-Man beat a Star Wars film, and it wasn't a Disney Star Wars film.
Right.
It was a George Lucas Star Wars film.
Well, and keep in mind that what Raimi really did that was amazing at the time is he showed the rest of Hollywood that, no, you can make them look like comic book characters, and it's a good movie.
Raimi, except for like Green Goblin, but yes.
Raimi literally told his the CGI effects teams, he showed them a comic book, a Spider-Man comic. I want him in as many of these poses as you can possibly get him into.
Yeah, and they did that brilliantly. I mean, it looked like you were watching a comic book when you were watching that movie. You know, and Spider-Man 2, of course, just nailed it.
I had a nerd tear after that movie was over. Like, I got emotional, you know.
About the only thing I didn't like about the Raimi Spider-Man films, and granted, it's still a problem to this day with superhero films, is the annoying habit of, wow, Spider-Man's mask got shattered again so that we can see Tobey Maguire's face. You know, but
I did like that scene in the train, though, when that guy stood over him and said, "It's just a kid." You know, I thought that was great.
Was the one time it was earned for me.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree with you on the other times. It was way too much. Holland's doing that too, though. Like every 5 seconds, I can't see. Take off my mask. Look at my pretty English face.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think that you know, and I don't know if it's Holland or Holland's agent or whatever, but you know what? We know Holland's voice. And you know, the funny thing is, it's like when they introduced Spider-Man in Civil War, that felt so good because his voice was perfect for being Peter Parker. The quips were perfect for being Spider-Man. The moves looked like Spider-Man. It was flawless, and you never saw his face.
No. Well, the other thing too is, I mean, he worked so well with Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
I don't know who was the actor that tested against Robert Downey Jr. They had someone else, and he read lines with Robert Downey Jr. and they said, nope, no, this isn't working. And they brought Tom Holland in. He goes, that's what we're looking for. Yes, kid, you got the job.
Every time he says Mr. Stark, it's just
Yeah, you can see there's a reverence there for him. There's a reverence. There's a respect. You know, and people like to bash the Marvel movies. He's Iron Man Jr. But I like the dynamic with Tony Stark and young Peter Parker. That he is this father figure for him.
And I gotta say, I even like, and maybe Nerdrotic may hate me for saying this, but I even like the way they kind of carried it on to Happy in Far From Home, that he still had that reverence for Tony Stark, and you know, Happy was just kind of there to say, well, you ain't Tony Stark because you ain't messed up like Tony Stark was. And I don't know, I agree. I think that having him be Iron Man Jr., I'm totally on board with it because it's not the comic books. So if you're a purist of the comic books, sorry, read the comics. This isn't the comic.
Yeah, but it stops being the character from the source material, and then it's Disney Spider-Man, and that's the part I don't like. Too reliant. The Spider-Man that lasted for 5 decades, all of a sudden Kevin Feige and everybody knows better than Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and God, you know, could go on and on. And that's the part that bugs me, is just keep the core of the character there. And the hard luck Peter Parker is not there. He's got gadgets. He's got stuff given to him. Yeah, I'm not a fan at all.
There's not much struggle with his problems.
No.
But you're okay with they having a bat cave, Gary?
Yeah, come on. It takes it. That's the core of the character.
I get what you're saying, Gary. But here's where the problem with it is, of course, that if you have a 90-minute to 2-hour movie, it's hard to focus in on those real world problem kind of things. Like I know they did it a little bit in the Sam Raimi films, but it felt kind of forced. All the stuff with Peter and Mary Jane just felt forced to me in the Sam Raimi films. As much as I love the Sam Raimi films, if you just, in the Marvel, I just think they said, screw it, we're just going to focus on the hero stuff because that's what people are here for. And I think that was a smart choice. Now, if Spider-Man were a series, if we were getting Spider-Man on Disney Plus, then I would be with you 100%. I want to see the real world Peter Parker struggling to pay the rent. But if I only get to see Spider-Man once every 2 to 3 years, then I want to see Spider-Man fighting Doctor Doom next. I want to see.
Don't do that. I totally disagree with that. You could still have the hard luck Spider-Man. Just don't focus on it. Don't hang up on it. Just mention it a couple times. You could still have an established Spider-Man that we'll get to later. That's the story most even normies know. So that's the one you don't have to dig into. Christ, you don't even have to put in Aunt May if you don't want to. You could just have Spider-Man fighting and just refer to stuff and let Sony deal with that.
I don't understand Aunt May in the MCU. I don't like that Aunt May. Aunt May in the Sam Raimi films was perfect.
Yep.
The thing is,
really quick. Nelson Shirata said $2 good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun. Of course, those who are ash heads know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And Captain Cat says it's $2. Hail Turtistan.
Hail Turtistan.
Well,
I heard Turtistan was using brainwashing and torture. That's what Bird of Prey was saying.
You misunderstood. You see, there was actually we freed Martok from Kurogan prison when Martok was temporarily replaced with a changeling, and so, but no, so there's
all makes sense now.
Yeah, dang, the whole house literally just shook. Sorry, got a storm blowing through.
Trace XL
that's cool.
Yeah. Trace XL sent us $5 saying Phase 4 is the new Square One for Marvel. They can't coast on the success of Infinity Arc. Yeah, that is so true. So true. And with that, I just have to say bye to everyone because I still have a script rewrite to finish. And thanks for having me. It's been a blast. And
thanks for having us. Your channel.
Thanks, Andre.
Yeah, and
easy, man.
Gary, especially thanks for you coming. It's a pleasure to talk to you again.
Of course. Yeah, we got to talk soon.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
Would love that. All right, everyone, take care.
Bye, take care, Andre.
Take care, Andre.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, hi, Script Doctor. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Gary. Nice to meet you, too.
It's a pleasure.
Hey, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Someone told me you used to have a comic book. Is that true?
It's a vicious It's a vicious,
vicious pleasure to have Andre come in, and it's always a pleasure to have Gary to stop in. And yes, Gary, proud to introduce you to the Script Doctor. I didn't know you guys had met yet. I generally try to make sure all the niceties are taken care of, but I booted myself so I could get you scooched in here because I wanted to hear your take on this as well.
Yeah, and thanks, Tom. And no, people have been actually asking for me to get Script Doctor on the channel, so we should make that happen.
Oh, really? I have not earned that, but thank you.
No, he's my very good buddy.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Yeah,
I've made a lot of great friends since I started doing this. It's fun and interesting. It's so cool to meet everybody too. So
isn't it?
Yeah.
We're so toxic, Script Doctor.
We are.
I know.
Jeez, it's so terrible.
Which is strange because in my circles in Hollywood, you guys are a lot like the people I deal with. Like they're open to ideas. They don't care about the identity politics and stuff. But we're kind of a smaller circle. Be a few generations, I bet, before we take over.
Yep. But, and you will eventually. Reasonable heads will take over, and maybe things will get better. That's what my hope is.
Hey, with Sam Raimi, if he does end up getting onto the MCU, that will make things better, especially without Avi Arad stepping on his neck in the background.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Kevin Feige would at least, I mean, they're pretty rigid too, but I think he would have the respect to give Raimi the trust. I mean, he's earned it. I mean, come on. Spider-Man 2 is absolutely, if one of the best superhero movies ever made, if not the best.
I would love to see a remastered Spider-Man 2.
Yes. Did you ever see 2.5?
No, what's that?
2.5. It's actually pretty. It's just got added footage. It's got about 15 minutes of added footage. And it came out.
It's on
all afterwards.
Blu-ray. You have to go to the special features, I think, though, to get it.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. Or I think one of the Blu-rays, it starts out automatically with that version. I can't remember which, but I've got like both versions of it on Blu-ray, and they both have it.
They did a digital bits version, so there's no reason why they couldn't remaster it. But I got that's me. That's I gotta go. So I gotta run now, guys. I'm sorry, but
appreciate you coming by, man.
No, yeah. Thanks for having me, Mecca. I think it was like hours since we've talked.
I know, and thanks for stopping by the High Council last night. Really appreciate it.
No worries. It was fun.
And I hope you got that package
from Colombia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, what?
I did.
What?
No. Yeah. The eagle has landed.
No,
yes, he did. Thank you very much, by the way. Oh my. I appreciate that. So yeah, Script Doctor, we'll get you on soon. Annie Tricker, to hell with you. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, man.
I hate you too, Gary.
I hate you too, unconditionally. I hate you. And
that's gonna have to be a thing from now on, Gary. Is we have unconditional hate for each other.
Unconditional hate.
Well, including everybody, we all hate you anyway, Michael. So.
I know. Yeah. And you know, it's funny because even though we, you know, like whenever the whole like my controversial statements of that some people in the fandom Menace didn't like, and it's like I say, you know what, I love these guys, we just disagree. So please stop saying, like, I have one guy every single live stream, he's like, we're going to war with the Fandom Menace. And it's like, no, I'm part of the Fandom Menace. Shut up. I love these guys. I just disagree on a couple of things. It's okay. We're humans.
You can't go to war with letters preceded by a hashtag. It's impossible.
Well, you can. It's just really, really stupid.
It is.
Makes me laugh.
It does. It does. All right, guys. Carry on and have a great show. I'll be listening in the background.
Right,
bye-bye.
See you, Gary.
Nice meeting you, sir.
Nice meeting you too.
Gary from Nerd Rock. Always
crazy news. Wow.
I love his glasses.
Who doesn't? He stole me. No, I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, crazy news. Yeah, who didn't see that one coming? Well, he did. Well, Gary did, but I didn't. So don't everybody talk at once.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't really get to talk about it. So it is a bit odd. I would have never thought in a million years, but you know, hey, if they give him the autonomy that he needs, or he thinks he can work within what they want. I mean, I don't think that Sam Raimi needs the Disney bucks, and Disney isn't well known for paying everybody that much money unless you're Brie Larson anyway. So,
not only that, if it does really well, then you have Benedict Cumberbatch kind of taking the lead on the representation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We don't need another 40-year-old white man to lead the MCU. It wasn't made for him.
Well, that's okay. Fantastic Four is coming.
Yeah.
Then we can have a 50-year-old lead the way. That's.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oh, don't think the woke crowd won't get upset about a 50-year-old dating like a 20-year-old.
Oh, you know what?
Storm and them have
balls to do Mr. Fantastic right like that. I will be jumping out of my seat applauding just for that.
Just have James back off as Sue Storm. Even Sammy, that would work.
Katie Sackhoff as Sue?
Yeah, you can play her a little bit older. I wouldn't mind.
I don't know. Well, it's not the age. You know, I love Katie Sackhoff, but I think Sue, just looking at her in the comic books, I don't think Katie Sackhoff has that classic beauty look to her. She's got, and I'm not trying to diss her at all. It's just her look is more of a tough girl.
Yeah.
And you know, like that's why she was so perfect to play Starbuck. I don't know who I would cast as Sue, but
I'll be honest with you. The best Fantastic Four adaptation we've gotten so far is the Corman version that's never seen the technical light of day, even though it's very easy to get.
Yeah. And the documentary was great on that.
Yeah, the documentary is great too.
The funny thing is that the Thing actually looks the most like the comics in that.
Yeah, but my point was that okay, the whole younger Sue Storm, older Reed Richards thing. Comes off very fucking creepy. I would not mind if they, like Rob said, aged her up a little bit, aged him down just a tad.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with
have it. I mean, I personally, I don't give a shit. You know, once you're 18, what you want to do with whoever, that's your fucking prerogative, right? But when you're talking about a movie that's, you know, about superheroes and shit, getting a little too grave Robin kind of shit, especially like the way they presented it in that movie, because that's, you know, the whole thing is he knew her when she was younger, and then all of a sudden, oh, she's grown up now. Now I pay attention to her because she's got boobs.
It was just a reverse Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
Right? I think if they want to make Reed, say, in his 40s, put Sue in her early 30s, I would be down for that. But remember, she does have to be young enough so that they can have Franklin. You know,
as long as there's nothing more than, say, like a 20 to 25 year age gap. That's
I'd say 10 is probably the sweet spot.
Yeah, I'm not saying make him 65 and her 19. You know that.
No. But I mean, again, it's the way it comes off in that movie, because, you know, in every other incarnation we've seen so far, they've been a little bit closer in age. So it's been, well, I mean, even the 2004 or whatever it was, he was a little bit older, but still.
How about John Krasinski and Yvonne Strahovski as Reed Richards and Sue Storm?
That's a lot of Isgiskis. I'm going to get them so mixed up.
Oh, like the office dude and the hot chick from Chuck. How about that?
Okay, that works.
Captain Hare, $5.
Hard on for him for Reed Richards for a while now.
Well, it's not me. I mean, you know, it's, you know, that the internet has had a hard on for him.
I know, but that's the first time I've ever seen you jump on one of those bandwagons like that.
Well, yeah. Well,
is that like Yvonne Strahovski as Sue Storm?
Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of agreed with the internet for once when they fan casted John Krasinski as Reed Richards.
I'd have to see him. I don't know what he looks like off the top of my head.
Get that picture up if somebody.
The Jack Ryan guy.
Zach. Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, I know. John Krasinski.
Yeah. Now that I'm looking, now granted, every picture I see of him is like with that
Jim from The Office, right? Or because Zach Levy was from Chuck, who did Shazam, which should have been still named Captain Marvel, in my opinion.
I think this is the one that Rob's talking about here. Hang on. While I'm doing this, Rob, you can read that super chat.
Yeah. Captain Hare, $5. This stream is entirely too happy. What was that about cake? Was that KK news about? I need.
It's the same shit we've been talking about all week. She's trying to make Star Wars feminine again. We'll get into a little bit of that. Don't worry.
Still.
I just wanted to take it out because we got demonetized. So I took all the crud out of the freaking title and just added Sam Raimi. But yeah, this is I think the image you're talking about, right, Rob?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
See, that's the later take on Reed. I don't like Reed with the beard. And I know that all, you know, like you look up John and like 90% of the pictures of him have that beard. But if you look at classic Reed, he was clean shaven. He looked like a freaking professor. That to me looks like he's trying to look grizzled.
Well, Greg Kinnear could have done it a few years ago.
Huh?
Greg Kinnear could have done it a few years ago.
Yeah, that would have been a horrible choice either. But no, I mean, but granted, I see where you're going with this. If people were into this, I would be totally on board with this. And let's picture this Michael is like his character, but like 5 movies in the next 2 Avenger movies down or something like that.
Right.
By that point, he would probably look like this. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, he needs to look like a freaking scientist. He needs to look like a nerd, not looking like an action star, which is what he looks like there.
Well, no, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, this would obviously be like, 2-3 movies down the road, I would say. But definitely, I don't think he's a bad choice. Matt G sent us $2. Can't believe New Mutants is still coming out. Yeah, in like a month, ain't it?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, actually. Even though it's, one of those movies that it's like, oh, is this part of a universe or just, I guess not? Is there going to be, no? Okay. But it still looks like it'll be cool.
You got your sounds ready, Rob?
Yes, I do. 5 pounds? Namco's 5 pounds. Peter Dinklage is either Wolverine or the Thing. You pick.
Wolverine.
Yeah, he would be good as Wolverine.
I would love to see Peter Dinklage as Wolverine. He would be freaking awesome. Granted, he would make a great Puck, but
Yeah.
I don't think that we're gonna ever see Puck.
No, we're not going to see Alpha Flight. I don't think.
But like, if you look at like Peter Dinklage played, I can't remember the name of the dwarf in Infinity War. How grizzled he looked there. I mean, all he needs is the freaking claws.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Darren Wagner, David Tennant, $2. David Tennant as Reed Richards works too. Yeah, David Tennant would be good.
I could see Tennant doing it as long. Now I haven't heard Tennant do a convincing American accent yet, but I could see him doing it.
Yeah,
that might make it less creepy too. Darren Wagner also sent us another $2, Rob.
Darren Wagner, $2. My pick for Reed Richards would be John Hamm from Mad Men. You know, Hollywood has such a thing against aversion to casting John Hamm in any kind of superhero context.
And he's good. Why was he not Superman like 10 years ago?
But
I don't know. I think it has to do with the fact he used to be an acting teacher, and there's sometimes a stigma against actors that are also acting teachers.
Well,
sometimes.
Well, when we talked about it on Reality Wasted back in the day when the part came up, and from what we heard was that John Hamm actually screen tested for Superman. He put the costume on, and he said, "Yeah," and they said the costume just looked like a cheap Halloween costume on him.
Wow.
But weird. John, I think, man, there's a couple of pictures I'm looking at, like he's got some gray on his temples and everything now. I think that he would make a great Reed. Right now, John Hamm looks just about right as far as age. If they're going to cast him right frickin' now.
Yeah.
Don't wait 5 years when he starts to show the years on him. Do it right now.
Yeah, because he's on that cusp of being. You could still play him
late 40s.
And then
it's just like Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. looks a lot older now than he did in Iron Man, but they cast him before the deep age wrinkles started to hit, so you could buy him aging with the MCU. Same thing with John Hamm. If you cast him right now, then nobody will mind the fact that Reed Richards looks like an old man in 15, 20 years when he makes his last movie. You know, but if you wait 5 years from now, people are going to be like, oh, he's too old.
Yeah. Like I said, there seems to be an aversion to John Hamm in Hollywood for some reason. I mean, he was, what was it? He was in the town though with freaking Ben Affleck movie.
Oh, the town with
the
him
FBI
and Jeremy
agent.
Renner and all them.
Which is funny because I was going to say another missed opportunity
Yeah,
with like a Superman too, but I know people are just going to hate on me now again even more.
Yeah.
But if you've ever seen Hollywood Land or whatever the hell the name of that movie is, he looks great.
Hollywood Land with Ben Affleck doing George Reeves. Yeah.
Yes, he looks great in that fucking movie.
But yeah, the thing is, I know that like someone said that John Hamm for Superman would be all wrong. I think John Hamm would be all wrong for Superman. He looks okay for the part, but his
might be a better Batman.
Yeah, but his voice is all wrong to me. However, as a befuddled scientist, absolutely, I could see that. I could see him because Reed Richards is supposed to sound confused all the time. And John Hamm, I think, could pull that off.
Well, he did in 30 Rock as that character that got everything because he was so gorgeous looking. So, I mean, he's got the. Sorry, what was that, Tom?
No, you continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no. Well, like the benefit to John Hamm is that he has a lot of range and good comedic timing. I love the sound of his voice. I think it'd make a great Superman because he can contort it to be a bit more friendly as Clark Kent and a bit more confident as Superman. There's no doubt about that. He'd also, again, make a great Batman. He'd make an even better Green Lantern because he can play a little bit of affable for like a Hal Jordan, and he's also still a good age for it because Hal Jordan's kind of an older character for Green Lantern, at least when I remember reading him in the comics. But like right now, John Hamm, he's just having a blast. I think the only thing that's kind of weird is that he's in all those skip the dishes commercials on the internet. So he should be doing more. but I think this has to do with the fact that there are some people out there that are foolishly averse to him because he was an acting teacher for a long time before he got Breaking Bad, and they don't always have acting teachers don't have a great reputation anywhere in the industry.
But let's not forget John Hamm's finest role as the host of John Hamm's John Hamm.
Hey, whatever it takes. I've never had a problem with the guy. But you know what really sucks is we'll never get the Fantastic Four starring Jeff Goldblum.
That would have been freaking awesome, yeah.
Right? I mean, that was the guy who was born to play the
puddle
role.
scientist.
And he's lanky.
You know,
So he's perfect for the stretch kind of thing. Go ahead. Anyway, sorry, Rob. I didn't mean to cut you off that time.
no, that's no. What's great though, you know, everybody who's kept saying, "Oh, Shuri's the most intelligent, the smartest person in the MCU." And I'm like, well, wait, Reed Richards is gonna have to make you disagree with that one. I mean, so you know, and that's
there's like 5 of geniuses in the MCU. Like they have their own little cult.
Can you imagine?
The Council of Reed.
Yeah.
The council,
That's
there's literally a council of Reed.
Yeah, I really want to see that, man. I just they need to announce the Fantastic Four like tomorrow.
We'll get it.
If they do announce it, it will completely put a damper on everything that Phase 4 is going to be.
Well, and that's what I keep reminding people that I mean, and it's not like I'm out there trying to like suck Marvel's dick or anything like that. I hated Captain Marvel. Fucking hated Captain Marvel. So don't get me wrong. And I'm not also going to be on this train like, oh, all of a sudden they're going to go woke just because they made one movie that was woke. You know, I mean, I don't think that's the case. And honestly, I mean, it hasn't Feige already kind of backtracked on the whole Captain Marvel's the strongest anyway, because now it's saying that it's Scarlet Witch again all of a sudden. So whatever.
Well, she can bend reality to her whim, so that's pretty significant. Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, that's the thing. It's like I've always said that in the first place. So when he first brought that up, it's like, how can she be any stronger than anybody else who has a power of any of the Infinity Stones?
Well, and
because
like, even
power, it's like every, you know, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's what I was saying. Going back to freaking Civil War, when Vision was set to guard her, and Hawkeye was like, you know, Vision's like, you cannot overpower me. It's like, nope, but she can. They knew how powerful she was. You know, so the whole thing with Captain Marvel.
Well, she went after him with no fear after she fucking, you know, especially after he killed Vision. Right. Like she's like, fuck this, I'm coming after you now. You know, it's like almost like she was holding back before because
she
might have been, and I think that was kind of the whole point of the whole deal going back to Civil War. And even though people shit on that movie, I think that did a lot to set up a lot of the shit down the road. Because, like I said, I do feel like she was holding her powers back on purpose and certain other things too. Yeah, and same thing with I was kind of right about the Hulk, even though Andre still hasn't admitted. I was right. He was scared of fucking coming out because he got his ass kicked. But anyway, let's move on. There were some people who wanted to hear about the Star Wars stuff I seen in the chat earlier. For those who haven't been caught up to speed, we talked a little bit about this on the High Council last night. It's been the talk of the town. Kathleen Kennedy opened her mouth again after she got drunk and won a BAFTA. Okay, again, I don't really take it with much. She's on the outskirts. She don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah. So just whatever she says, she's just like the your drunk aunt. You just let her talk her shit. You know, just let her talk. She's gonna say whatever, and then just move along. You know, that's where I think she's at right now. I don't know about you guys. Mecca, it sounded like you had something to say.
Yeah, she is tipsy and out there, you know, just spouting bullshit like she always does. That's the only thing with her. She doesn't know what's going on. They're not making movies anymore. That's the other thing that she's like, oh yes, we're gonna have all these women directors, and you know, it's like, okay, you're not making any Star Wars movie in the immediate future. Bob, I said you guys
four of them lined up. She says, like, yeah,
yeah. I mean, okay, you've got like the dates slotted, but everything's going to Disney Plus. Theatrical shit isn't making you guys the money that $10 a month for a streaming service will.
Which one's which, Script Doctor? Are you there?
Yeah, it was weird. I had some sort of lag spike
for a moment there. It was like
there's two of me. It was weird.
Crossing over into dimensions.
No, I knew something was wrong when I saw Mecca's icon was still muted, but I was able to hear her. I'm like, oh, something's gonna
So
happen.
are you evil, Script Doctor? You need to
Yes.
get a little
The
beard. on you.
multiverse of madness.
I'm the script assassin.
The Script Evil Doctor.
I worked on Captain Marvel. That's how you know I achieved my goal.
Anyway, sorry, Mecca. I did not mean to interrupt you there. I apologize.
Yeah, sorry, Mecca.
Oh no, that's all right. I think that's all I had to say about it because we've talked about this like a million times.
Yeah,
too.
I don't think she knows what the fuck's going on. We've got Taika Waititi in talks to direct the next movie. He looks like he has a dick. I don't know about you guys. I don't need to check, but I'm pretty sure he's a guy.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Thomas, you're just being a toxic man. You're a toxic man.
I am so
Hello.
fortunate. You gotta talk more through your nose. That's how she talks.
Just talk more through your nose. You're a toxic man, Thomas. You're a toxic man. Don't you know the force is female? Can we just
Nope. Sorry.
can we just please just send early retire her, please? Just motherfucker. Come on.
Well, I speculate the reason the Obi-Wan thing has been happening is because they want to do it without her name officially attached.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only speculate because I haven't heard anything. But
Well, think about this for a minute.
makes sense.
From your point of view, Script Doctor, even if she's been much more, even if she hasn't been much more than observer, an observer. God, if I could fucking talk on The Mandalorian. You've had these scripts that she claims she's done.
Yeah.
You would think she would have noticed the similarities between the two. If not, somebody would have spoke up and said, there's a lot in common with The Mandalorian and this Obi-Wan script, if you think about it. You got
I think
Obi-Wan.
Ewan McGregor said that, actually.
Yeah, so why did they do something sooner? Because this all fucking happened in like real time. We actually caught this all because they had that stupid fake article come out and everybody's like, oh no, the rumors are bullshit because the article was a fake article. But then we had people like Candy and a few other people, Geeky Candy and stuff like that. They're like, no, this is something to this. And they kept pushing and I pushed a few people and tried to get some answers. But yeah, all of a sudden the whole thing came crumbling down within a matter of days. And fake news all of a sudden became real news. And here we are sitting in a situation where the one sure thing that Disney had going forward is in jeopardy. And I don't understand how this happens, Script Doctor. If you can explain to me how somebody could go this long knowing what the stories were and not, make the connection. I don't see a world that happens.
I can suspect that Kathleen Kennedy's story analyst probably didn't give her the best of coverage with regards to the Obi-Wan scripts. And so she just got a Cliff's Notes of it and never actually read the scripts. Because in some cases, producers, especially ones that are head of a studio, don't get to read everything. Mandalorian was very compartmentalized from the rest of the Disney Lucasfilm. I know that because they were doing the whole stagecraft technology. And I think that's the only thing people really knew about the Mandalorian going into it. Everything else was pretty hush-hush from what I know of it. But I also think that after the not so great reception of The Rise of Skywalker, things immediately started to change. And I think because Kathleen Kennedy's fingerprints are all over Obi-Wan, if that show were to be produced and go into production, as soon as she retires, she still makes money off that show regardless. But if Bob Iger is, let's say, cruel and vindictive, and he doesn't want to give Kathleen Kennedy another cent of any more future Star Wars properties, he would delay the production until she's completely out and restart Obi-Wan from scratch, and she would never get any. She's going to get money from The Mandalorian because she's head of this Lucasfilm at the time, so they can't do anything about that. But they can definitely make sure that she doesn't get a cent anymore from Star Wars for the foreseeable future, and that would happen sometime in the 2021 range, depending on what month her contract ends in that year, which I don't know or don't. Yeah, I definitely don't know.
Yeah, nobody.
I knew. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it'd probably be from whenever it was announced quietly. Well, actually, it leaked to the media. But before we jump into anybody else's feelings on this, I want to read this real quick. I do. Annabelle A. Morales Sanchez says, I do think she must have more power than people think. Here's the thing. Yeah, she's got power. She's the head of Lucasfilm. But we've seen in the last 2 years, roughly, year at least, her power being kind of stripped away from her. And not only that, if you watch one of our most recent videos on Midnight's Edge, as I'm sure Rob can reiterate from the video, she's kind of seems like she's out of the loop on everything, you know, especially when it comes to like to begin with the whole Leia issue when it came to Rise of Skywalker and stuff like that. Right, Rob?
Yep, that's correct. She's been, it's the whole, starting with the whole, I think Todd Fisher's confused, you know, and it just seems like she has they're deliberately not telling her things.
She's either out of the loop or she has some sort of head injury that no one's told us about.
You know, I'm not saying this to be mean, but maybe maybe she's had a stroke or something. Maybe there's some sort of health impediment. I
hope she's okay. Like, I don't wish any ill will on her because
someone her age, they could have. She, like I said, maybe there's something.
That or she's the most incompetent fucking producer in history of movies. Because I'll tell you this, right?
Well, let's do an asterisk of creative producer because she is competent with everything else. Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing. She is fucking pooched this so much she can't pooch it anymore. It can't be pooched anymore outside of having a turd literally come out on screen and going Star Wars.
Hey.
And you don't get a cent of it at all, Annie Trekker, because you don't own turds.
No.
You may resemble that, but you don't own turds. Everybody has turds.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like the next song in the Team America musical.
Everybody has turds. Yeah, I poop. You poop. We poop. We all poop. Turds.
Your grandma's got them, and so do you. Come on, everybody. We got shitting to do.
I don't know that it's like a Iger being vindictive kind of thing, but I tend to think that there's the possibility that Obi-Wan was on its way to being the next woke Star Wars, and Iger saw that and it's like, okay, stop Obi-Wan. Once she's gone, we'll make Obi-Wan right. Because everybody got so pissed off over woke Star Wars, and the reception of Mandalorian, really the only non-woke Star Wars to come out since the merger, has been pretty positive.
Yes.
So thank you, Picard.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to argue there. And I think you're right. I think right around the time that Last Jedi blew up, like when the whole thing kind of blew up, is right around the same time where KK seemed to be out of the loop, because she had the Todd, she said Todd was confused, but then obviously she was the one who was confused because JJ's like, oh no, we're going to use footage from The Force Awakens, and then all of a sudden, you hear the rumor that there was the big dressing down thing, and I do believe that happened, and I also do believe that around that same time her shit got moved out of Elstree and JJ's shit got moved in.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, and I do believe that they tried to get JJ to take over Star Wars, and he wouldn't.
JJ will not be locked into something like that.
Again, we got to remind everybody, we may not like JJ, and even though Annie Trekker doesn't agree with us, most of us here on the panel that think JJ's a hack, he is in Hollywood seen as the golden boy. Everything he does turns to gold. And even though Star Trek went down this fucking, massive fucking dark hole or black hole, sorry, it didn't do it on his watch in their eyes. That's what you got to remember.
Right. They made the first two and then left.
Yeah,
exactly.
The best allegory I can think for his career is he's much like the old .com startups. Like, all of them made money right away, and then as soon as like a little time has passed, they all just kind of bankrupt themselves.
By the time everybody realizes the gimmick's a bunch of bullshit, yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the new people had anything to do with it per se. It just means that it was bullshit from the start. It just took that long for people to realize it. That's all.
Yeah, a foundation on sand. It looked great for the first few hours, and then you start seeing the house sink.
And again, I'm not saying that JJ isn't competent enough, Michael, to make a movie. He can fucking set up a camera. He can work with actors, and he can definitely write. But when it comes to, he's never done anything original outside of Super 8, and that's even arguable is not very original because it's just basic.
Technically, Mission Impossible 3 is the most original and competent of his films.
But that's
I would argue that his most original writing was probably regarding Henry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is you go back to some of his writing, he's got some great shit under his belt for writing. But once he started directing is when he just turned into, I'm going to copy and paste. And to me, that dignifies being a hack, in my opinion, is when you go out there and you can't create anything of your own that signifies that I can put on a Tarantino movie. No, it's a Tarantino movie. I can put in a Spielberg movie. No, it's a Spielberg movie. You know what I'm saying? I can put in a Scorsese movie. No, it's a Scorsese movie. I put in a JJ movie. I don't know if it's a Spielberg movie or a Michael Bay movie or, you know, somebody else, because he doesn't.
Alan Smithy movie.
Yeah, he doesn't have any tropes that are his own outside of the one fucking trope. And you know what that is? Your lens flare. That's the only thing he brought to the table that is anything new, quote unquote. And I wouldn't consider that much more than just a gimmick to try and make you feel like you're in that documentary feel. And he wasn't the first one to do that. That's just been there naturally since cameras have been around. He just amped it up. That's all. Really. I mean, I'm not trying to like say you're wrong per se in your perception of him. You're more than, obviously, you know, you're a person. You have your own personal opinions on it, and you're more than, you know, are within your rights to see it that way. To me, I think he's nothing but a fucking hack because he relies on mystery boxes and copy and paste bullshit.
Yeah, he needs like a Robert Evans type of producer over his shoulder in order to get him disciplined to do something, I think, worthwhile.
You give him a really great script, though, script doctor, I'll give you this. You give him a really great script and tell him not to fucking touch it and just do this, I bet you get a great movie. I'm not going to say you're wrong there, but that doesn't make...
No, I believe it, yeah.
Do that. A machine can do that, though.
I think part of the problem is with JJ is you should not put him in a well-established franchise because he wants, you know, like you were talking about with the mystery box thing, he wants to toy around with that stuff. He wants to mess with the stuff. And if you have a franchise with set rules and set history and stuff, you don't want someone that's going to say, "Oh, I'm going to play around and do that," you know. And then, of course, with Rian Johnson, of course, he went into overtime with it and said, "Oh, I'm just going to screw everything up, and I'm going to do it on purpose because I want half the audience to hate my film because he thinks that's art."
Yeah, he's got the college kid mindset, the first-year college student mindset. JJ likes the mystery box because it's low-hanging fruit. It's a very easy thing to manipulate into other stories.
Right.
But he only knows half of it. He doesn't know the satisfying ending of it.
And if you look at MI3, which I would, you know, I think it is arguably his best film that he was the primary force behind. I still think Regarding Henry was a better film, but I don't think JJ directed it. I think he just wrote it. But if you look at MI3, the Mission Impossible franchise was in shaky territory at that point because Mission Impossible was a lot of fun. Mission Impossible 2 kind of floundered. And people didn't know, what are we going to do with this franchise? Because we can't just do a cheesy James Bond kind of thing. And that's kind of what Mission Impossible 1 was. But we had the novelty of it being the team, and they had the novelty of Mr. Phelps being the bad guy and that kind of thing. And then Mission Impossible 2 is just kind of, eh. And so they brought in JJ, and it's like, okay, let's do something. And JJ managed to hit gold with that, where he made it a little, you know, that's where the grittiness of Mission Impossible came from. You know, that
he expanded the IMF to be a bit more of a bigger organization, which I actually liked. I liked it a lot.
We got our first real memorable villain. In Impossible 3. Holy crap, was
Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah,
Philip Seymour Hoffman's performance in Mission Impossible 3 was downright disturbing. That whole, what's your name? You know, oh man, he still creeps me out. So I think that's where he really nailed it. But that's because Mission Impossible needed someone to come in and play with it because the franchise was kind of broken. And but taking him and putting him into Star Trek, huge misfire, because while the first one, to me, like watching the first two Star Trek movies, it's like, oh, this is kind of a fun alternate reality Star Trek, but it's not really Star Trek, it's alternate reality Star Trek, which is kind of what it is. But
it's new Coke. Yeah.
But I want real Star Trek. You know, and the Trekkies and the Trekkers out there, they wanted real Star Trek, but all we were getting was alternate reality. And so, you know, then he left, and the third movie was just garbage. And I know some people think it was the best one, but you want to talk about hack writing. The third one borrowed elements from 17 different episodes and then threw in an anti-military plot to it. And it's like, ugh, no, thank you.
I didn't even remember I watched that one. That was so bad.
I hated Star Trek Beyond. But the, and then, of course, what's next? Oh, well, we're done with Star Trek. Let's go on over to Star Wars, which, of course, when he was making Star Trek, you can tell the guy doesn't understand the franchise, because he's making Star Trek and in interviews saying how he's more of a Star Wars fan. And it's like, do you not realize what sacrilege that is for you to say? And all the Trekkies are already wanting to hang you right now. Because the last thing you say when you're directing a Star Trek film is you're a Star Wars fan. You know, and so it's clear that he didn't understand the franchise. He certainly didn't understand the fans. And then he went over to Star Wars and he proved, well, guess what? He doesn't really understand that franchise either.
Yeah, but the thing is Paramount hired him because he was a Star Wars fan. They wanted to.
Right. They wanted to make it more like Star Wars because they thought that would make money.
Yeah, they wanted a better. I mean, I know this because I was interning at Paramount, not during this time, but like when they split, I knew beforehand in 2005 that they really wanted to make a Star Trek movie that could really take advantage of the new special effects that have come out. That's basically what they wanted. And then, of course, Viacom and CBS split, and I was out on my ass. And then I'm hearing, oh, yeah, J.J. Abrams is coming in. And I'm thinking, no, just because I Lost is like my first like real hardcore understanding of who he was, and I saw the pilot and I was like, I'm not into this. I know exactly where this is going. He's got nothing, like so. And I made some money off some bets from that with my friends who loved the show. I'm like, told them how I thought it was going to end, and I paid rent for 2 months a few years later.
But you see, yeah, I think where Star Trek, I really think and I understand Paramount Pictures wanted to make a big movie that was going to make $1 billion. They wanted to compete with Star Wars, blah, blah, blah. But what they really need to do,
they wanted that message out there, though. You got to understand that too, Michael. Right. And I'm sure you do, but I'm just saying, you know, to reiterate, you know, they wanted him to go out there and sell that to the normies. It was to all the people who thought Star Trek was too geeky.
Right, but that's the fundamental problem. You need to embrace the geekiness of Star Trek for it to work. And so if you
just have to make it accessible in a respectful way.
Right. And that's where, you know, what Star Trek is really, and this is something that I know pisses off a lot of my fellow Trek fans when I say this, but Star Trek should not be a film franchise at all. Star Trek should only be on television or streaming services. It should not be a film franchise, because Star Trek is meant to do the deep dive. It's meant to spend episode after episode after episode exploring the human condition, not 2 hours, let's set up a bad guy and make a big boom. You know, and don't get me wrong, that's fun. 2 hours of setting up a bad guy and making a big boom. That can be fun. That's exciting. You know, that's what Star Wars was all about. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that that's not Star Trek. And
no, but Star Trek has the luxury of rooms for an explosion. It's just like in the special effects department. But I think what really drew everybody into it, especially me as a child, was just the interaction and the relationship.
Right.
Like, say what you will about the Star Trek: The Final Frontier. My favorite part of that movie is the campfire scenes.
Right.
Like it just makes me fall in love with those characters.
But the thing is, Star Trek has always been, and you know this, Script Doctor, Star Trek is the classic example of a character-driven show. Right. It's the characters are what matter in Trek. More than the plot, more than the story. It's about Kirk, Spock, McCoy, their relationship and all that. That's why you could, even though Star Trek V is an awful film, you can enjoy those campfire scenes for that. But it had the advantage that you already knew Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. They didn't have.
Yeah, it was an icing on the cake type of thing. Right. Yeah.
The Star Trek, the Star Trek films, you didn't have to get to know the characters because we knew them, you know, for a very long time already. And so that was the nice thing about it, is that you already had you felt like you had a relationship with these people already. but it still works better, especially if you're going to do something new. Do it on the small screen. You know, don't try to make the next Star Wars, because you know what makes the next Star Wars? Star Wars. But unfortunately, then they got the wrong people to do that.
And you're very much right, because the principal rule of television is that it is character driven first, and then you have a good plot to anchor them down so that you can actually follow what these characters are doing, what their choices are. I don't think we're quite getting that with Discovery or Picard. Maybe a little bit more so with Picard, because there is something going on there. I don't like it, but I mean, there's at least something more going on there than what's in Discovery. But yeah, like I think that there is always an exception to the rule, because sometimes there might be a really great Star Trek story that would fit for the theater. But it started in TV. I think TV should be its home for the long haul, and I don't think you should be focusing so much more on the feature film aspect of it, but just make it kind of like an event option, as opposed to trying to dedicate a film franchise for Star Trek.
Right.
Mark C.
Sorry about my word salad.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to cut in there when I had a bit of a silence to get this $10 super chat, because we appreciate it. People like you keep the lights on, so thank you so much. Rob, you gonna read it?
Oh fuck, my mic was muted. Mark C, $10. We were so close to having famed comic book writer artist John Byrne doing a drawn Star Trek TOS comic. It didn't happen thanks to J.J. Abrams' merchandising agreement. And again, goes back to the to what we said about in one of our videos.
I don't know about the agreement, but if that's true that John Byrne almost did a Star Trek TOS comic, it is a real shame that it didn't happen, because I happen to be a huge fan of John Byrne. And you know, like you have that John Byrne thing picture for your avatar. I love John Byrne's run on the Fantastic Four. So yeah.
Mark, really, I have to wait on Annie Trekker to get a super chat. I don't want to be
everything nicely said about you, Mark. Screw you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Otherwise, though, we do have a little bit of I don't know how you'd categorize this mecha. What would you say? It's
some unconfirmed rumors, I guess, or some unconfirmed sources, I guess.
Send us some info, yeah. Or sent you some info, and we're gonna read it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna read it?
Unless Rob wants to scroll back and read it.
Let me do the breaking news. Hold on. Breaking news. Okay, we got some breaking news. Breaking news just into Midnight's Edge. All right. What's some breaking news?
Season 3 is about to wrap in a week or so. I'm on it today. Asked about season 4. They said no idea. It's still in limbo. But yeah, it makes sense to have some Star Trek on and release it weekly. Was there more? There's more to it. Sorry. Not sure if it's public, but Section 31 is pushed till 2021. Says so on production list. Just happened today. If you all right, and then the other part was supposed to come after that. So yeah, so basically that's what we've heard from our source, that Section 31 has been pushed to 2021, which is kind of in line with the things we've been hearing, is they keep pushing it off, and Michelle Yeoh's getting pissed. So I don't know what you've heard, Annie Trekker, but
the only thing I heard yesterday was that a buddy of mine who I work with thought he saw Anson Mount in downtown Toronto, but like that's all I got. I don't know.
Now I have heard that they are working on a Captain Pike series, possibly, like it's in talks.
Well, I don't. Well, come on, they're gonna have a series where a white guy tells everybody what to do.
Well, those sets are built at Pinewood, Toronto, so like they haven't been taken down.
They already have it.
You know what you could do though is you can have him being told how to be better by all the women on the crew.
Well, because number one's
gonna have
to come in and take charge. Yeah, exactly. She's gonna have to come in, take charge. Totally, and that's exactly what I've heard too.
I'll say this much: a Pike series would be a whole lot better than a Section 31 series. The Section 31, to me, as a lifelong Trekkie, the whole idea of a Section 31 series is just offensive. I don't like the idea. Pike, however, I liked his character. I liked Spock up until the last episode of season 2, and of course the singing Spock from that short trek. The number one, whatever, fine. But the thing is that I think that they've got to give Pike some balls. I think that they've got to get over themselves as far as men bad, women good, which fortunately you don't get that much of a vibe for that on Picard, but Discovery was so full of it that it just made you sick to your stomach. And I'm hoping that that Picard is more of an indicator of where it's going than Discovery, but we'll see.
Well, they wrote themselves into a corner. They made Starfleet evil, and Starfleet's run by women.
Well, you gotta also remember, Michael, that the girls, the twins, are going to be the answer to everything. So of course it's going to take a shift at some point.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do Picard yet, but I'm just saying, like, so far Picard is the central character.
I know. I'm trying to say it without giving anything away.
Right, and they're not trying to say Picard is bad. They're just, or that he's incompetent. They're just, but just that he kind of ran into the bureaucracy of Starfleet, and Starfleet is saying, heck no. I thought that scene with the Admiral in episode 2 was actually a very effective scene. If they just would have dropped the F-bomb out of it, it would have felt very Trek. But we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm not rating the series as a whole until I see the series as a whole, because right now we just have an introduction.
Oh no, and I'm like I said, I'm not trying to give you anything away or anything like that either. I'm just saying you can just kind of tell from where the series is going, is my point.
Yeah.
All right. Outside of that, was there anything else we needed to cover, guys? Because I think we can put a cap on it then. Not.
I think that was everything.
I think that is everything.
All right.
Okay.
So
We'll just have to wait for the next Picard and Birds of Prey.
yeah, Picard drops tonight, right, or tomorrow?
Tonight. Well,
a giant bird in a toilet.
2:00 in the morning, my time.
Like 2:00 or 3:00 in the morning, or whatever. So yeah, stay tuned for that kind of business. I'm sure Mecca and everybody's gonna be doing a Doctor Strange video. I'm sure we'll have something coming on that soon. We want to thank everybody in the chats. We want to thank everybody for the super chats.
And for everybody who says we only have negative stuff, watch my Doctor Strange video.
And
yep.
Script Doctor is jumping over to Bounding Into Comics stream. You can share the stream link in the chat if you want to do that. If they got room, I'll
I'm just gonna try and find it. My
other
browser's acting all funky after that doppelganger issue.
Other than that, do check out Script Doctor's channel, of course. Check out Michael the Anti-Trekker on his channel, and Mecha Random, of course, is always on her channel as well, respectively. So, Rob, take us out of here. By the way, we got merchandise now. I'm gonna get that link.
Yes, check it out. We're on what, Teespring?
No, we got different
mixed teas, whatever it is.
No, it's
yeah, it says mixed teas in the description.
Yeah, yes, mixed teas. Yes, it's in the description, and I'll put it in the thing.
Check out the cool new Midnight's Edge t-shirts. Yes, be the envy of all your friends, or you make people say, what the fuck is that?
Oh my god, breaking news. We got a Baby Yoda tiki mug.
Oh, really?
If you want to share my screen.
Oh, those go. Where are those at? Are those at Disney World?
Those are probably at Disneyland.
I say they've had this tiki thing for a while.
I've got the Porg one, which is really freaking awesome. Oh, available for pre-order. It's not there at Go away with your. Look how cute it is! Quality Construction ceramic tiki mug. You can. It's a child.
Is it one of those? Is it one of a tiki mug? Is it one? Is there a label at the bottom that says do not put in place in dishwasher? Do not do not pour liquids into.
Midnight.
Tog Toys pre-order. Look how cute he is, huh?
Don't feed after midnight.
Yeah, look how cute he is.
Yeah, I'm not. I know they've been doing the tiki things for a while. I had something from Nightmare Before Christmas that was the tiki thing. But yeah, if you're interested in some Midnight's Edge merchandise, there you go, folks.
Yes. You know, where if you work at Lucasfilm, please wear it around the office.
You'll be the hit of the crowd.
You'll probably get fired if you wear this to the Star Trek production offices, though. Even though they are looking for interns, so.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Kathleen Kennedy goes home every day? I can't deal with these fans. Yeah, the fans. She calls up Alex Kurtzman. Alex, how do you deal with the fans?
No, they live in their bubble. She thinks she's doing good. How is that?
What that is? What that?
What's wrong with dial-up?
Annie's getting an alert.
Yeah, severe weather alert.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. Well, let's put a cap on this one. Everybody, Mecca. Everybody, go check out Mecca's channel, Anti-Trekker's channel. Go check out Script Doctor over on Bounding into Comics. Subscribe, like, share with your friends here on the main channel. Everyone, I'm going through reverse puberty with my voice over here. It sucked the first time. We'll catch you next time.
You know what you should have in that store of yours, boys?
How dare you talk to me that way, you third-rate tot?
How dare you talk to me that way?
I like big Asian butts.